Hi. So, welcome to my channel, Midnight Makes. I'm Janelle. So, I wanted to start a new little series on my channel where I knit and chat and just chat about whatever I feel like. So, today's knit and chat, I want to talk about the media that I've been consuming lately. Haley Marie Vintage. Nope. Is it Haley Marie Vintage or Haley Marie? Yes. Haley Marie Vintage on YouTube. I'm terrible with names. I apologize. I'll put her at right here. Does a little segment in her project vlogs where she does like a media on my mind situation. She just sits and does hand sewing and talks about things she's been watching, all that. I wanted to kind of steal that idea. I don't know that I will be doing that in every knit and chat. It might be, it might not be that. So, anyways, for the project that I'm working on today, I'm working on the Louise pullover by Sari Nordlund. It is a free pattern on the Hobie website. So if you want to work on it, you can. So I wanted to talk about the media that I've been consuming recently. If you see me looking to the side, it's because I'm looking at my iPad. I wrote notes trying to keep myself semi on track. We'll see how it works. But so some of the things that I've been listening to lately, well, okay, so I'll talk about the main podcasts that I always listen to. I listen to every single week, multiple times a week if they release multiple episodes in a week. And so I like true crime. I don't know that I enjoy. Maybe that's not the best way to put it, but I like learning about crimes, and just because it intrigues me, murders, missings, disappearances, cults. I just find it really interesting, and I like to look into the psychology of it, which one of the podcasts that I'm going to talk about does that, and I love it. So one of my favorite podcasts is Crime Junkie. I really like the way Ashley talks about the murders, and I love Brit. I actually, last week's episode was actually a Brit episode where she talked about a crime, which was interesting, very confusing. I don't think the right person is sitting in prison for that one. I highly recommend you listen to it if you're intrigued. Another crime podcast that I like is Morbid. Morbid and Crime Junkie are similar, yet massively different. I appreciate that in Morbid, Elena and Ash tend to not make jokes, but their reactions to things, I appreciate. It's more human. Like Ashley with Crime Junkie gives you the facts, and she's really good about how she treats people and things that have happened, but Crime Junkie does, or Morbid does too. But I mean, if you've listened to, you know what I'm talking about. I have not. It's Monday, and I have not listened to either of their podcasts yet for the day. But after I'm done filming here, I have a bunch of, daily cleaning that I need to get done. And that's when I listen to my podcast. I love listening to podcasts while I clean. Keeps me busy. So, other podcasts that I enjoy: Park Predators, hosted by Delia D'Ambra. I love her, and I love her voice. She also does Counterclock, which I know there's a new season coming out soon. I don't know when it launches, but I can't wait. But Park Predators is about crimes that happen in state parks and murders, disappearances, unexplained disappearances, stuff like that. And I love how much research she puts into it. Even she's done episodes from like way back in the day, 1800 stuff, and it's amazing how much information she's able to find. Like I said, I love her voice. She's very calming, I just love it. But she posts, I think, Wednesdays. It used to be a summer only podcast, and then I think about a year ago they made it a weekly podcast all year long, and I'm so happy for that because I really look forward to Wednesdays. I don't remember what day it is. I get notifications on my phone when they pop up. So another podcast that I enjoy is still true crime, but it's more cultish. It is Was I in a Cult? Tyler and Liz are freaking hilarious, and they put in a lot of jokes, and I snort laughing so many times listening to them. They were both in cults, so they know what it's like. They've gotten out, and I have really been enjoying their podcast. Not only are they hilarious, but it's interesting to hear what some of these cults do and how I dropped a stitch, how they manage to control people and get them to join the cult, and how they make it so hard to leave. And it's very interesting. So if you've never checked it out, I highly recommend it. Though if you don't like when people joke about harder topics, then I wouldn't recommend it. But they're very good at making jokes, but not at the expense of the story. And I just absolutely love it. So the last podcast that I listen to weekly is Killer Minds. And this is the one that really gets into the psychology. And one of the hosts is a psychologist that has worked in the prison system and has done competency evaluations on murderers for trial purposes. And I really enjoy how they go through and talk about these serial killers, cult leaders, and they go through them as children and how certain things in their childhood have impacted their lives and everything like that. And it's really interesting. Again, it feeds into that in that psychology of serial killers thing that I enjoy learning about and hearing about and trying to understand. Like, I could never understand how people do what they do, but it's you get a little hint of it, and you can see as you listen to it, you can see where things have happened that can be the root of part of the evil that these people have. So, yeah, I love it. So those are my all the time podcasts. I think as I go through this later on, I will talk about other podcasts that I occasionally listen to. But for now, I'm just going to stick with those. So the next media that I want to talk about is books. I am an avid reader. I've been in a bit of a reading slump for like the last year. So I'm not reading as much as I have in the past, but I am still reading and mostly enjoying what I'm reading. There have been some books that I haven't enjoyed. So my current read, I apologize, I'm trying to increase and it did not want to be picked up. The bar did not want to be picked up. So my current read is The Daughter of Dr. Moreau by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. She wrote another book that I read. I have no idea where it is. I have a bookshelf behind me, if you can't tell. There's books here and on the top shelf and the bottom shelf, but there's nothing in this section. There's another bookshelf over there. I don't know where half my books are. But I read Mexican Gothic by her. I liked it. I didn't love it, but the writing was good, so I definitely wanted to pick up another one of her books. This, however, I didn't pick up by choice, but I am so glad I picked it up. So this was a blind date with a book. You can get them online from people, but this one I got at Barnes and Noble. And the little tagline that they put really intrigued me. And so I grabbed it and then immediately started reading it as soon as I opened it. And I'm about almost halfway through it, and I am loving it. I read that half all yesterday, and it's really interesting. It's Mexican Gothic was like a paranormal book. This is more of a sciencey book. When I think of science fiction, I think of like space or aliens or stuff like that. This book deals with hybrids. The doctor is creating hybrids between people and other animals, and it's been really good so far. I've been enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to finishing it. That's the only book that I'm currently reading. Usually I have an audiobook for when I don't have any podcasts and I am still cleaning and need something to listen to. At the moment, I don't have an audiobook. I'm probably going to scroll through the library audiobooks later and see if one piques my interest. But for now, that's the only books I have. So the next thing that I've been consuming media wise, TV shows or movies. Honestly, I have not been watching like regular TV much at all. I watch a lot of YouTube, mainly because podcasts and I like commentary videos and stuff like that. Um, so like actual TV, I haven't been watching much of. Um, my husband and I and my son have been watching South Park as the new episodes come out, but other than that, I really have not been watching any TV. Haven't watched any movies lately. I think the last movie I watched was Minecraft when it first came out on streaming services, and I haven't watched anything since. I have to be in the mood to sit and watch shows and or movies, and I just don't really feel like it. So, last section I want to talk about are documentaries. I love documentaries. I like, my son and I like watching history and animal nature documentaries. I like also true crime documentaries. And my son and I currently are not watching any documentaries. We usually, in the school year, while he's having breakfast and while I'm having my morning coffee, we usually watch podcasts. We haven't started any recently yet. There's only been 2 days of school. So, but I have been watching documentaries myself. I finally signed up for Tubi, which is free. If you don't know about it, I highly recommend you sign up for Tubi. It's free. You don't have to pay for anything. You get movies, TV shows, stuff. Not everything's on there, but there's a lot of stuff on there, and it's worth signing up for free because, oh my God, there are so many streaming services, and they cost so much. And what we do, which I think is what a lot of people do, is we sign up for a streaming service for however long it takes us to watch a show that we want to, and then we cancel it and then grab another one because I am not going to pay for 85 different streaming services all at once. There are certain ones that we keep all of the time, Paramount Plus being one of them, but that is because Paramount Plus has a veterans discount. My husband used to be in the Army. They have a veterans discount, and I think you get it for like half the price that you usually pay for it. So that one we keep all the time because we're not paying very much for it. Right now we have Hulu. We signed back up for that because my husband and son wanted to watch the new episodes of King of the Hill that have been going on. I have no interest. I've listened to a couple of them, and I grew up on the original King of the Hill, and I know that most of the characters are the same, and I know that some have passed, but oh my God, some of the voices are just, they're wrong. And I don't like it. And I never really cared enough about King of the Hill to want to watch the new series, so I haven't been doing that. Anyways, getting back to what I was saying about Tubi, I signed up for it because there is a documentary that I want to watch that's on there. And of course, I haven't watched it yet, but I've watched other ones. So eventually I'll talk about that documentary. But this weekend I watched the documentary Missing 411, The Hunted. I did not realize when I picked it up, it's like a 3-part documentary, and that's like the second part, but like you can watch them out of order if you want to. I was really I was really intrigued by the Missing 411, The Hunted episode. They talked about hunters that have gone missing, like really weird, unexplained disappearances where you can't find anything, no trace of them whatsoever. And then others where they have been found, but the circumstances of the way they were found was really weird. I was enjoying it until the end, until towards the end, and then it got into the maybe it's aliens territory. That's when the documentary lost me. Nice, there's a car backfiring outside. Yeah, once they got into, oh, it's aliens, I got a little, it lost me. But I did enjoy it enough that I decided that I was going to watch the first part of the ones. It was called Missing 411. So basically the same, it's just not with the extra. I didn't make it very far. I think I made it like 20 minutes in, and nope. And then as I was scrolling through the documentaries on Tubi, I realized that the third part is called Missing 411, the UFO something, but it's aliens. Honestly, I wanted to hear about the people that were missing and the circumstances of how they went missing, and like some of them how they were found and all that. But not everything is aliens. Just saying. There are a lot of times where if something's unexplained, it's aliens. I don't know why. That's where people go, but that's where people go. And I don't know. It lost me. So I stopped watching Missing 411. I decided I didn't care for it. That's just me if you're into aliens. It was interesting. Like I said, it was really interesting. But it just became too much. Oh, it's aliens situation. And I can promise you, even if some of those were alien disappearances, not all of them. Not everything is aliens. Not everything is Bigfoot. Speaking of Bigfoot, my son and I have watched a few documentaries on Bigfoot and all that. Like, I love cryptids. I love all the different types of cryptids and all the stories and the myths and the legends behind them. But like some of the hunting Bigfoot documentaries shows are really bad. That's just me. Anyways, so the documentary that I'm currently watching is an episode-based documentary, so it's like a little docu-series. And this one's been out for a while. And that is the Leah Remini Scientology Aftermath. I can't remember what it's called. I'll put it in here. Series that she did. And I have, like I said, I really intrigued by cults, and Was I in a Cult has done Scientology episodes, and you know, I know about, I know enough about Scientology to find it intriguing. I'm not the type that would end up in a cult by accident. I would probably end up in a cult because I was curious. Like, honestly, I'm curious about the Scientology stuff. I wouldn't believe a goddamn word of it, but I'd be interested in it. So my curiosity would be the problem. But I've really been enjoying uh, her documentary. I think I've watched or docu-series. I think I've watched the first 2 episodes, and it's amazing what has happened to these people, what they've done in the past. Like one of the guys that she talks to, I think it's in the second episode, um, the things that he did for Scientology is crazy. I also think the lore, I don't lore, how Scientology started, that, the backstory on Scientology, like, it was developed by a science fiction author. And so I think it's really interesting how it got started and where it's gone and what people will believe. Um and it's interesting too to like Leah Remini and the lady that she talked to in the first episode. They didn't enter the religion by choice. They were children, so they were indoctrinated in Scientology. I said religion, I meant cult. um there's a fine line, very fine line between cults and religions, and there's quite a few religions that are 100% cults. If you don't agree with me, sorry, but Scientology. But it's the indoctrination, and that's one of the things I like about Was I in a Cult, is there's a lot of talk about how they were indoctrinated as children and how they grew up in it and then like leaving, um how hard it was to leave, and how not only to leave the religion, they also had to cut ties with family and friends that chose to stay in the religion. Cold. But yeah. Anyways, like I said, I'm only on I think I've only watched 2 episodes, but I'm definitely going to finish it. I'm really enjoying it, and I also find it interesting all of the things that get released by the Church of Scientology on these people that are speaking out against them, and all the things they do to discredit people that speak out against them, which the second episode really dives into what they do, because that was that guy's job that she talks to in the second episode, that it was his job to discredit people that left Scientology and that were speaking out against it. And it's really interesting what they will do to try and hide what they've been doing, or lies they will tell to pretend like they're not terrible, and they didn't do terrible things to people. But so that's pretty much all the media that I've been consuming recently. I really love documentaries, podcasts, all of that, and it's fun to actually get to talk about them. I really don't. I talk to my husband about stuff. He listens, but he doesn't give a crap. He'll listen to me, but that doesn't mean he cares. So, it's fun to just sit and talk. I gotta be honest, I didn't want to do any of these knit and chat videos for the longest time because I was afraid that I wouldn't have anything to talk about. Obviously, the media that I've been consuming is a fun topic. Like I said, I'll probably do knit and chats on different topics when, whatever I feel like talking about that week. I was going to try and do these weekly. If not weekly, then every 2 weeks, bi-weekly. That's what every 2 weeks is, bi-weekly. I know words. But we will see how it goes and how how much time I have to sit down and talk, which honestly I have plenty of time. All I have to do is do a little bit of cleaning and make dinner today. I don't have any other plans other than picking up my son. So anyways, that is my knit and chat for the week. Thank you for joining and listening to me ramble for, it's been over half an hour. I can't believe I talked that long. If you're interested in any of the books, shows, documentaries, podcasts that I talked about, I highly recommend you check them out. I will have put pictures in of everything as I talked about it. All right. I'm going to go and get my cleaning done for the day. I had a little bit of done. I got actually quite a bit done on my pullover. So that worked out wonderfully. All right. Have a wonderful rest of your day wherever you are in this world. Be good. And I will see you next time. Bye.